He hurt you and everybody saw it, right? And yet this guy gets to still walk around like nothing even happened. And that's the part that nobody really prepares you for, right? It's not the heartbreak. You're expecting that. It's not even the trauma bond. It's not the grief. The real punch in the gut is looking around and realizing that he's not shunned, he's not exposed, and he's certainly not sitting alone in the dark thinking about what he did to you. No. He's out there just living his life, right? Posting photos, dating, laughing, being praised, being believed. You're the one sitting with all this hurt, all this pain. You're the one who lost friends, lost your sense of self, lost your peace. Meanwhile, he just continues, right? Women tell me this every single week. Lisa, I know I have to move on. I know I have to focus on myself. But how do I do that when he never pays for anything he did to me? And honestly, the anger in that question makes more sense than half the advice than women ever get. Stay with me because I want to bring this full circle in a way that'll make parts of this just finally click for you, especially the part of you that just feels like you cannot let go until something finally just balances the scale. I'm Lisa Sonni. I'm a toxic and abusive relationship expert. I'm a certified relationship coach, and I help women understand emotional abuse, break trauma bonds, and rebuild their lives after being torn down. I say the things that you've lived through, but you were never allowed to say out loud. If you want more real talk that makes your life make sense, subscribe now. Here's the part that really stings, okay? Society doesn't shun abusive men. It shuns the women abused by men. Make that make sense. You were expected to leave quietly, heal privately, never cause a scene, right? You were told, don't talk badly about him. Get over it. Take the high road. Don't be so dramatic. Just move on. Meanwhile, he gets to rewrite the entire story and half the people around him just nod along because you know what? It's easier for them, right? It protects their comfort. It keeps the peace. And I'm telling you, abusers rely on that. They rely on people who say, well, he was never like that with me, or, hey, you guys just weren't a good match. Maybe you were toxic together. They rely on coworkers who think he's a great guy. They rely on family members who excuse everything. They rely on the fact that men get infinite benefit of the doubt and women get almost none. A man can scream at a woman in public, cheat on her, drain her bank account, humiliate her, stonewall her, threaten her, weaponize intimacy, destroy her mental health, and he's still seen as just what? A good guy having a hard time. Meanwhile, a woman cries once, raises her voice once, disagrees once, and suddenly she's unstable. That's the double standard though, right? That's the whole setup. And the world expects you to just swallow it and with grace. Nobody warns you that part of the trauma of this all is just watching the world around him treat him like he's normal. He's reasonable. It's not just the abuse that you're recovering from, right? It's the world's reaction to what happened to you that you're also recovering from. It's the moral injury of seeing your pain just dismissed and minimized or just basically straight up ignored. Watching people comfort him while you're trying to remember how to breathe. That betrayal hits probably as hard as the abuse sometimes. And here's where survivors get stuck the most. You see him out in the world, right? He's acting normal. He's being charming. He's being helpful, being generous. And your brain starts asking, if he was really abusive, why doesn't anybody else see it? But that question is built on the assumption that abusive men are obvious, and they're not. They're strategic. They know exactly when to perform. They know exactly how to soften, when to flatter, how to just appear safe, how to play the victim. They're wildly good at that, and how to gain sympathy. The version of him that the world sees is actually just a character that he created. That's the mask you're always hearing about. And that character, it's designed to protect him. He didn't hurt you because he lost control. He hurt you because he knew he could get away with it. He hid it because he knew it was wrong. He denied it because he knew it would cost him something. That secret version of him, that's actually the real version. The public version, that's camouflage. That's the mask. And here's the part that messes with so many women's heads the most. Most of what he did to you, it's not even illegal. Emotional abuse isn't illegal. Coercive control isn't illegal in most places. People always comment from around the world going, hey, it's illegal here. Well, it's not illegal in North America. Screaming in your face, manipulating you financially, isolating you, he uses your kids against you, forces you to walk on eggshells, sabotages your stability, threatening to ruin your life, right? None of that's actually criminal. The law only sees bruises and broken bones. It doesn't see insomnia, panic attacks, fear, your confusion, the fact that you lost yourself, the way that you flinch at any sound. The law doesn't see what he did because we live in a system that refuses to take women's emotional safety seriously. It doesn't even matter. That gap between what you lived and what the world recognizes is where the deepest pain really sits. Because now, what? You're left trying to explain some kind of harm that nobody else can really see. And that's why women internalize guilt, because they doubt themselves. That's why they feel stuck. The damage is real, but the world only acknowledges it if there's physical evidence. And let's talk about justice, because this is where things actually get so complicated. When women say they want justice, everybody just assumes that they mean legal justice, like they want him charged or arrested. And listen, in a fair world, he should be. I fully support that. But that's not what most survivors are actually craving. Maybe you are, but you're probably also craving emotional justice, right? You want just like acknowledgement, the truth, for him to take accountability, closure. You want him to tell the truth. You want someone else to tell the truth. You want the world to actually reflect the reality that you lived in so you don't feel like you're losing your mind. But abusive men deny closure on purpose. It's actually part of the abuse, because if he acknowledges anything, the whole thing falls apart. So he won't. And if the truth threatens his image, and it does, he's going to lie and deny, blame, smear you, and just kind of charm his way into a safer story for him. That's why closure feels impossible, because you're never going to get it from him. The longer you wait for him to admit what he did, the longer you stay emotionally attached to a person who traumatized you. But here's the part that we all hate to admit. He's going to hurt someone else. He is. And it's not your fault. You didn't pass him on like a defective product. He wasn't safe with you, and suddenly he's dangerous with her. He is who he is. Everybody wonders if he's going to hurt the next person. Yes, he is. He rinses and he repeats. Abusers don't change partners to become better men. They change partners to get a fresh audience. But the amount of men and women that subscribe to this idea that a man will change for the right woman, he'll do better for another woman. He just didn't give it to you because you weren't the one, but the next girl, she's the one. That might apply to a average emotionally unavailable man. This is about abuse. Your abuser is not going to be kinder to someone else because he's a misogynist and he abuses women. He might be a narcissist, but the point is that he is abusive. That's who he is. That is the worldview. That's how he sees the world. He is not going to be kinder. He is not going to be not abusive to the next person. But the truth is, watching another woman walk right into the same dynamic that you escaped, it's its own special kind of heartbreak. You want to warn her, save her, shake her, perhaps. She's in the phase that you were once in, right? The phase where he still feels like the right answer. He feels like the soulmate. He doesn't feel like a threat. So warning her doesn't actually stop him. Saving her doesn't stop him, because that's not what's going to happen. What you need to hear clearly is that you cannot stop a man from being who he is. You can only stop yourself from being a part of it ever again. That's the hardest part of the whole thing. You're waiting for the world to treat him like who he really is. The world doesn't want to. I know that sucks. The world does not want to treat him that way. It is so much easier to just believe him. That's why you did, that's why she did, and that's why other people do. It's easier to blame you and to cling to that both sides BS myth because it protects people from acknowledging how common abusive men actually are. People will protect their comfort before they will ever protect your truth. And if you wait for the world to validate what you've lived through, you're going to wait forever. You're going to be stuck forever. But the part that kind of ties this all together, this is the piece that women don't realize that they're waiting for. You think you're waiting for justice. You think you're waiting for closure, right? You're waiting for the world to see the truth. But what you're actually waiting for is the story to feel like it has a fair ending. We always want justice, right? We want to know that something bad happened and now there's retribution. Something's going to happen to this person, right? Karma. You want the universe to balance this out, but it actually can't be balanced. That's why you feel so stuck, because your healing is tied to a version of justice that's never coming. Healing doesn't actually come from justice. It doesn't even come from his exposure. I know you want it and I get it, but healing is not going to happen just because his life falls apart. It's going to come from stepping out of his story entirely. Make him irrelevant. Justice is the life that he doesn't get to access ever again. He gets no access to you. That's justice. It's the identity that he can't touch, the piece that he can't take from you anymore because he's gone. It's the version of you that he will never know. This guy is literally hiding in plain sight. Let him. He has to keep pretending. You don't. You get to build a self that he's never even met. He doesn't even know you anymore. You get to tell the truth now. You get to close the book, even if the world never reads it. I really want people to understand that you get to control your own story. Just because he claims whatever he did to you isn't what actually happened and that you're a crazy liar, does that actually change that he did what he did? It changes nothing. I know that you want that. We want fairness. We want justice. We want accountability. I get it. You want him in jail. And I'm not going to dispute that. I don't care what he did to you. Sure, he should be in jail. That's not the way the world works right now. That just isn't it. And if you wait for this, if we just spend the rest of our lives mad because that's not how it works, you're going to be stuck forever. You can give yourself closure by knowing that what you know happened, happened. What you experienced is what happened. You can become a completely different person. You can heal yourself. You can make him irrelevant. You can feel indifference towards him. That is where you're going to find the healing. If this hit you, I hope that it really did, and you're actually ready to finally rebuild your identity after abuse. Book a private session with me, and I'll walk you through everything step by step. If you want more videos that name what you've lived through without sugarcoating, hit subscribe and tell me in the comments what you want next. Tell me in the comments how hard this is. Tell me in the comments what worked for you if you've gotten out of this and stopped caring about getting accountability and getting justice from him.